Hi there, this is David and welcome to the Top 10 Battleground Towns. One of my favorite things about JRPGs are those towns. Now, there are plenty of games where the towns aren't that memorable or important, and I'm always disappointed by that. I love when towns truly feel like an event, when each has their own distinct atmosphere. And what's more eventful than turning the concept of a town on its head, where instead of rest and relaxation, you have fights and puzzles, like a regular dungeon? Well, that's what we're looking at here. So come and join me for the top 10 best Battleground towns. Number 10, Final Fantasy Legend II, the Town of Giants. The whole giant world is pretty cool. Apparently, this world used to be inhabited by giants, but they, for whatever reason, didn't want to be giant anymore. So they either left or reverted into humans. The translation doesn't really say, but this was released in 1990, so cut it a break. When you finally get to the giant's town, you'll find that it's just that, giant, spanning about 90% of the world. However, it's abandoned except for, of course, the monsters. The town is unique in that in the overworld, you never actually go into a separate dungeon screen here. I love exploring the oversized towns, climbing the furniture and cabinetry, looking for treasures and lost magi. It really puts into perspective just how large these now extinct creatures really were. Number 9, Dragon Warrior Hawksness. The great granddaddy of Battleground towns. This is the one that started it all. You'll probably stumble across Hawksness well before you're actually supposed to go there, thinking that it's just another town. But then you'll be quickly destroyed by the enemies there. You see, the Dragon Lord demolished the town well before the events of the game, so incorporated into the story are NPCs and refugees, who will mention the town with dread and fear. But they'll also give you clues on where to find the treasure hidden inside. It's pretty cool how they didn't artificially stretch out the length of the town either. It's the same size as many of the other towns in the game. Also, a boss fight's had here, and bosses are few and far between in this game. Number 8, Final Fantasy VI, Zozo. While Zozo is technically a town, they designed it to be much more in line with a dungeon, complete with a boss fight at the end. That's kinda why I placed it towards the top of the list. I really do wish that it was more of a true town. Instead, it's more of a barrier that I dread going through because the game really does pick up once you leave here. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, the concept of the town is that the people of Jidor kicked out the lower class citizens to live in this rainy shithole where everyone is a liar and a thief. So you can't trust anyone, which creates a pretty cool puzzle mechanic where you have to use the process of elimination to figure out what time it is in order to get one of Edgar's best weapons. Treasures are strewn all about, and the random encounter rate is turned up to the max. Once you explore the town proper, you then have to climb a rather large central tower in order to solve one of the game's biggest mysteries. Who exactly is Terra? Why can she use magic? And what's going on with the Espers? Number 7, Breath of Fire 4, Champa. This is a great concept. Champa is a town split in two, one part safe, the other part separated by a wall because it's polluted by a hex, which lingers like a miasma hovering just a few feet off the ground. So the people of Champa have hired a group of purifiers whose job it is to purify the hex. So they've constructed ladders and bridges to traverse the rooftops so that they can get into the polluted segment of town safely without ever touching the ground. One of the purifiers, Urshan, will join you in the text part of town, but when you can't explore any further, Urshan will split from Ryu and Nina because her armor allows her to move about in the hex, removing obstacles and manipulating the terrain in order to maneuver Ryu and Nina over the rooftops and eventually traverse the entire town. It's a great mechanic, and I think it's the only part of the game where party switching like this is actually used. Number 6, Final Fantasy Legend III, Mu. Unlike in most RPGs, you can actually survive swimming underwater. I know, it's shocking. And submerged under the waves, you're going to find a pretty cool town that's under construction, built there in a bid to survive the flooded world. This is all well and good in the past, but by the present, a disease begins to spread, turning people into water hags, which spares no one by the time that you get to the future. You'll also see the town evolve as more houses are built and more people continue to evacuate the dry land and move underwater. In the future, it is a full-fledged battleground town, with everyone becoming mindless water hags. Without the morph spell, you're going to be forced into a battle with them, in addition to the random encounters that are already here. But sadly, it seems that even escaping underwater will not save the human race from the destructive force of the water entity. Number 5. Final Fantasy IX, Burmecia. The only town on the Gaia continent that's located below the mist, it's known as the Realm of Eternal Rain for a good reason. The kingdom is Freya's home, and like Hawksness, it lies in ruins. However, unlike that town, which has been in ruins for years, Burmecia is very recently destroyed, with families still running for their lives and bodies laying about the street. It's very well done. After you explore the highly detailed ruined houses, you'll enter the castle, where major storyline happens as well as character development, mostly for Freya, learning more backstory for Sir Fratley, as well as Beatrix, and we get our first introduction to the true villain of the game, Kuja. Number 4. Dragon Warrior 2, Moonbrook. Way to change things up a bit! In the prologue, the destruction of Moonbrook is shown. Hargon and his evil minions attack and lay waste to the castle, killing the king and his people while transforming the princess into a dog. When you're finally able to explore it yourself, it's pretty much just populated with ghosts of the dead, as well as monsters. The once vibrant terrain has been poisoned as well. The king is still there and will recognize his daughter once you rescue her, and the spirits of the guards will give you clues on how to proceed. It's really well done for a game released in 1987. Number 3. Shadow Hearts, Xiaoyang Village. This is the first time that you come across, and it really lets you know that you're in for a different experience when you play this game. This walled town is no respite. It's a trap, and those walls aren't built there to keep the monsters out, they're there to keep the villagers and visitors in. You see, it's actually inhabited by cannibals, and tonight, you're on the menu. The only way out is to break the seal of the old god and reveal the true form of the villagers, that they're actually monsters. The town then transforms into a sea of blood, and it's up to Yuri, Alice, and the exorcist Zhuzhen to set things right in this demon-infested alternate reality. Number 2. Earthbound III. I love pretty much all the towns in Earthbound, and technically they all could probably fit the bill, but Threed stands out from the crowd when it comes to a battleground town. It's a Halloween-themed town complete with ghosts, zombies, and a haunted circus. But what really sets it apart from the others is that you can exorcise the town and bring it back to its former glory. I like the feeling of dread that you get when you arrive through the tunnel, which is haunted by ghosts. The people have lost all hope and have started working with Gigas, Master Belch, and the other zombies around town. The atmosphere is so dreary and gloomy, it's just perfect. However, unlike the majority of towns on this list, you can actually save the poor town of Threed, kick the zombies' asses, and send Gigas and his sympathizers packing. Number 1. Final Fantasy VII, Midgar. This one takes the cake. I've been a huge Final Fantasy fan all my life, playing 1, 2, 3, then being thoroughly confused by the release of 7, but that's a story for another time. The first time I played, I thought the entire game took place in Midgar, but I was pleasantly surprised when you escaped and the whole world opened up. Midgar was everything that Final Fantasy games had not been. It was dark, gritty, slummy, and painful. Gone were the bright worlds of the past. Cloud and the gang felt trapped, and the town gave you the same feeling of hopelessness that its residents faced. A feeling like here it's a living, breathing town sprinkled with dungeons and smaller havens to rest. It's enormous, and the team at Square designed this to be the opening act of a grand play. Well, that's it for the top 10. What are your favorite Battleground towns and RPGs? Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments, and as always, if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.